Chapter 1: The Whispered Echo of the Past. The wind whistled through the iron gates of my dying bride's fortress, a cold greeting from the nameless city where her reunion with Vemata had been sealed. 10 years had passed since the pain of loss had separated them, and the burden of survival had shaped them. Now they stood here, no longer the frightened children of old, but two queens in the Exiled Lands, each with an army at their backs and an unquenchable thirst for revenge in their hearts.
They took everything from us,
Vemata said quietly as she stood beside her older sister on the battlements, gazing out over the rugged expanse. Her gaze was hard, her arms crossed.
Our parents, our home, our childhood.
My dying bride nodded, her eyes fixed on a distant invisible point.
And we will take everything from them, every single one of them.
She turned to Vemata, her expression a mask of determination.
But we're not chasing ghosts, Vemata. We need names, places, and a strategy that's not based solely on anger.
Vemata laughed softly, a hard, short sound.
Anger is a good motivator, sister, I understand. You're right. The memory of their faces has faded, but the scars they left behind have not. And scars tell stories.
So we'll start where the shadows are longest. Rumors, old leads, and maybe a tortured confession or two.
A dark grin crossed her face.
My people have reported a small base of religious zealots to the east, not far from the abandoned ruins of Exiled Lands. They're known for harking back to old conflicts and exploiting them in their sermons. Perhaps they know more about the looting 10 years ago than they'd like to admit.
Vemata nodded in agreement.
A good first step. My scouts have heard similar things. A fanatical cult might actually have connections to the events of that time, or at least knowledge of them. They're also known to be careless with their secrets, if you ask them convincingly enough.
Her gaze met my dying bride's, a mutual understanding flashed.
Then it's decided. We're sending out small, fast-moving squads. No open battle. Not yet. We want information, not unnecessary attention. We'll scout this base. If we're lucky, we'll find documents, maps, or even someone willing to talk.
Or someone who needs to be forced to talk.
Added Vemata with a meaningful look.
My Beastmasters are ready, and my Shadow Skulkers are the best at invading enemy territory and remaining unseen.
My dying bride smiled darkly.
Perfect. Let's meet our best people at the Gate of the Moon. From there, we'll plan the raid. The hunt begins.
Chapter 2: The Shadow of Wrath. My dying bride passed through the Gate of the Moon, a small but strategically important outpost she had built in the jungle. In the center of the room, at an ornately carved strategy table, stood Vemata.
You're there.
Vemata said without looking up, her voice calm and controlled.
I'm here, and I've brought 3 of my people with me.
She nodded to the 3 warriors following her, veterans of countless battles, whose gazes were as hard as the steel of their armor. Vemata raised her eyes, a brief, almost imperceptible smile flitting across her face.
My people are ready too.
She pointed to 3 equally imposing figures, flanked by a taskmaster. A brief nod of agreement between the sisters. 6 men, small but deadly, perfect for what they had in mind.
4 guards at the main gate.
Murmured my dying bride, her eyes analyzing every movement.
And the gate looks solid.
Vemata grinned.
Solid is relative. My scouts have discovered that this massive gate isn't locked. Typical arrogance of fanatics who believe their faith protects them better than a bolt.
My dying bride raised an eyebrow.
Unlocked. That changes the tactic. Just the 2 of us. We take out the guards, open the gate for the rest. Then the 2 of us will advance to the ceremonial hall, where they're weakest. We'll bring the squad back.
A shadow on the shadow. Perfect. Let's show them what true determination means.
Perfect. Let's get the others.
My dying bride nodded to her people.
I'll take one of you with me. The rest stay here on standby. We don't want unnecessary attention. We want precision.
Vemata also chose one of her people, whose gaze reflected the fierce determination of her leader.
We all arm ourselves with clubs.
She looked into the faces of the fighters.
We don't kill unless absolutely necessary. Our goal is not destruction, but information. The High Priestess must be captured alive. She will give us the answers we need.
Vemata nodded in agreement.
Stun, don't kill. Every zealot who is unconscious is a witness who will remain silent or can be made to speak. We don't want a massacre that raises alarm, but a targeted operation. The High Priestess is the key.
My dying bride, Vemata, and their 2 chosen warriors move silently through the open gate of the zealot base. They've barely taken a few steps when they're spotted. More than a dozen zealots of Verketo rush out of the shadows, their screams echoing through the night, their blades flashing in the pale moonlight.
This is her, the high priestess of Dercato, the leader of the base.
My dying bride entered the main house. It wasn't the chaos she expected. Behind the shrine, she found what she was looking for, an old, yellowed document. She tied a rope around the unconscious priestess's shackles.
Let's go, Vemata.
Chapter 3: The Interrogation and the Dark Truth. The High Priestess of Dercato, still unconscious, was bound with chains to a sacrificial stone. Vemata stood beside her, her eyes averted from the prisoner, a silent expression of grim impatience on her face. MyDyingBride's warriors stood guard at the gate while Vemata's taskmaster tightened the chains. The air was thick and heavy.
She's tough.
Vemata stated, her voice a low growl.
Not awake yet, but she'll talk.
MyDyingBride placed the old document on the table and smoothed it.
This is more important than I thought. It speaks of the Shadow Blade and an ancient bloodline that is to be renewed, somewhere in the south, at a black stone circle. Could this Shadow Blade be the commander the other zealot spoke of?
Very likely. These cults are all connected, like ugly vines. But we need more than that. We need precise coordinates, faces, names. And why the hell did they want our village? Our parents? What does that have to do with an ancient bloodline?
At that moment, the High Priestess stirred, her eyelids fluttering. She gasped as she tried to free herself, and her gaze fell on MyDyingBride and Vemata. Hatred blazed in her eyes.
You will burn in the fire of your disbelief,
Hissed the High Priestess, her voice rough.
The return of the Dark One will devour you all.
Vemata stepped forward, her expression ice cold.
We'll see about that. But first, you'll tell us what we need to know. Where is this Shadow Blade? What does he have to do with the old bloodline? And why was our village attacked? Speak up.
Never. I will remain faithful to my gods.
Your loyalty is useless. We know the Black Hand is behind this. We know about the jungles of the south. Now you're talking about the old bloodline. What does all this have to do with the attack on our village 10 years ago?
A spark of fear flashed in the High Priestess's eyes as MyDyingBride uttered the last sentence. She hesitated, a tremor running through her body.
It wasn't a simple raid. The Black Hand was after an artifact. Something inherent in your village, a relic of your ancestral line. It was meant to activate the Shadow Blade's ancient bloodline, strengthen the connection to set a dark ritual, and exchange souls for power.
Vemata spat in disgust.
Souls for power? Our parents as sacrifices to their demon god?
They needed the blood, the special blood of your line, to open the stone circle, to channel the power of Set, to summon a legion of shadow creatures. That was the true reason for the attack. The humans were just pawns. The artifact and the blood, that was the goal. They found it. The bloodline is activated. The shadow creatures are awakening. You're too late.
My dying bride clenched her fists, her eyes blazing with anger.
Where is this stone circle? Where is the shadow blade now?
Deep in the cursed jungle, in a place called Moonspawn, where the shadows dance and the souls scream. The skull of the serpent. There you will find it. You will fall, like your parents. Set will take you.
My dying bride looked at Vemata, her face pale with anger and horror.
So this is the truth. They wanted our blood, our heritage, to fuel their demonic rituals. Not just robbery, not just slavery. This is an affront to everything we are.
Then we'll show them what kind of blood flows in our veins. Blood that cries out for vengeance. We know enough. The cursed jungle, Moonspawn, the serpent's skull. That's where the shadow blade is. That's where our goal is. We don't need you anymore. Say hello, Ducato.
The truth has come to light. The attack had a much darker and more personal motive than previously thought. The Shadow Blade and the Black Hand used the sister's bloodline to perform a demonic summoning.